Hello, and welcome to another episode of Human Design Hotline, where we hang up on doubt and we answer the call within. And today I have a great question from Julia, and Julia's question is all about inspiration. So she says, how can I seek healthy inspiration without social media? I always feel like I cling to social media because I feel like I don't know enough, or even just because I'm bored. I feel uneasy while taking walks because my mind is not really busy with anything. And I feel like I don't know when to go after the need to get inspired and when not to go after the sensation. My head centers are both undefined. I think this is a really interesting question. And of course, when it comes to inspiration in human design, our inspiration lives in the crown center. So your crown center is the very top center. And how I like to see this center as, you think about it, it is like your top center. It's almost like a mountain. You think, they say mountains are very sacred and spiritual places because it puts us higher to God, right? And it's the same for your crown center. It is this space that is like closest to what is beyond what we can't see. And so it's a really interesting center that we're going to get into today. And I actually think as well, when it comes to the crown center, it's a center that we don't really talk about that much. It's one that's sort of like forgotten. So that's why I kind of really love this question. Now, there are other aspects about our human design that can sort of trigger and make space for inspiration, aligned inspiration, right? Now, there's going to be other parts of Julia's chart that we're going to look at because I felt really drawn into them in particular for her chart, but also this is something you can apply yourself. So let's get into it. First of all, I want to say when it comes to inspiration, and this is, Julia has an undefined crown center, and there can be this sort of need to always be inspired, to always be looking for what's next, what's the next thing, what am I excited by, what am I thinking, those kind of things. But you know what? Like sometimes it's really powerful to embrace the void, to allow, I talk about this, and Julia is a generator as well, and I talk about this energy with generators all the time because generators are literally, I mean, they are just like, they're like a battery. They can just keep going, and they want to keep going. They want to fill their life with things to do, things to build, things to create, inspiration to run wild with. And so when a generator is in the void or in that space where nothing's really happening or there's nothing really going on and maybe they don't even know what's next. When a generator is in that space, they can resist it. They can avoid it like the plague. Like they will not enjoy the void. And something I really want to encourage you to do is to lean into the void. And sometimes this can show up when your body is calling you to rest, it's calling you to slow down a little bit or take a beat. And this can be for all of us. And we are so hardwired to resist that. We are so like hell bent on filling our life with everything all the time that we don't actually see the abundance and the inspiration that can live in those periods of nothing. I know, stay with me. But when we are called into those spaces where there's not much going on, you don't actually know, and this is what I say about inspiration, this is what I say about creativity all the time. You don't actually know what is being cultivated within. What's important to understand is sometimes your body is guiding you to rest and to relax and to, be still so that it can literally download you with inspiration, bring something brand new to your door. But again, we resist it a lot. So, one of my first things when it comes to this question about inspiration, the first thing I want to say is you don't have to be inspired all the time. You think about it, artists, some of our favorite artists, Beyonce or whoever, they don't bring out albums every single month. No, they need to almost live and be in life and bask in living in order to become inspired, And so it's the same energy. If you want to be inspired, live your life, go and explore. And this is a beautiful for the undefined crown center. You're going to get inspired by life. So allow yourself to go out, do those things you want to do that don't necessarily have an end goal. Those things you want to do for fun. Take those walks in those places that you've never been before, but you've thought about. Travel. The undefined crown center is inspired through living. So go and live. So what I'm saying is there is fertility to be found in the void. This is when inspiration has that space and that ability to land. You think about it, if you are constantly go, 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 do, no space for nothing, no one, you, it's like, how do you expect something to land? You've got to enjoy the spaciousness of life. You've got to allow it. And I know that it's so, so easy. I'm a manifesting generator. I can be generating all day long. But I know if I need inspiration in my life, if I want to have ideas land, there needs to be a little bit of space. And so how do I do that with an undefined crown myself? Is I'm going to put myself in new environments. I'm going to take those walks, even though I could be doing a million things. I'm going to go to a class and move my body. I'm going to put myself in environments where I'm around other people and see new things, do new things. I'm going to live, and not only is that going to ignite inspiration, but it's more joyful. It's more pleasurable to be in life as well. And yeah, so what I want to say is, first of all, for you, Julia, as a generator, let yourself, if you aren't already, let yourself sort of bask in that void. Allow you, we can't control inspiration. Like, it's not a light switch. We don't just switch it on and, oh, I'm inspired to with this idea and to do this and to do that. It comes when it comes. I know for me, I have been in yoga classes. I have been in events listening to different people and on planes. And I am like sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, I've got to write this down. And things just land when they do. And so it's really important for you don't need to be constantly searching for this inspiration. Inspiration finds you. And what you can do, which is what we're going to look at now, is you can sort of open the airways, or I would rather say something else. I'm going to teach you how to get the soil ready for those seeds to come in. And I felt really drawn in this aspect to look at your sense cognition and your environment. You think about it, these are two aspects, two physical aspects of your human design that when they are sort of in alignment externally, you're going to feel clear within. So again, it's that, you know, when I'm talking about creating that spaciousness for inspiration to come in, I don't just mean physically, I also mean energetically, allowing that space, right? And if you've got so many things frustrating your system, you're feeling stuck with so many energies and all that kind of thing, that clarity and that flow of your energy may not quite be there. And this is where we can get or we can help ourselves a lot. And I love the variables in human design. So we have digestion, sense, and environment. I love them because they're very practical. They're very physical. And for me, I'm all about practicality. I'm like, how can we physically use this information? Yes, it is all about our energy and about the things that we can't really see and put our finger on. But this part of human design, it sort of like roots it in reality and it lets you create these really specific physical tasks, tools, and use them to create more clarity the other way, right? And so for you, your sense cognition, it's like your intuition, it's like your spidey sense, it's like a physical intuition tool. But on the other side of that, when this sensory part of yourself is clear, you are going to be much more, you're going to open up a lot more. And so for you, your sense is what we call outer vision. And so when I seen this, I was like, okay, this is something I was drawn to as soon as I looked at your chart after reading your question. And so outer vision, it's all about the aesthetic. It's all about how things are looking to you. And, on a side note, this energy and other energies in your chart, like gate 41, there is a natural and very powerful sense of creativity. So I can understand why your question is about inspiration because you're naturally a creative person. And with that generator energy backing that up, it's like you want to be creating all the time. But out of vision, it means you have the vision. You have that creativity tool. It's like you can see what things go together and what doesn't, what looks good and what doesn't. That's going to be your intuition as well. It's kind of like if something looks good to you, it's probably a sign for you to invest your energy or dive in, right? It's kind of like if you're looking to live in a house, you have to go into that house and you have to look at it and be like, does this vibe with me? Right? That's how it can work. But on the other hand, you are going to suppress this energy, suppress that creativity perhaps, when you are putting yourself in environments that feel dull, that don't excite you, that don't inspire you. So for you as an out of vision person, something very, very practical you can do to sort of like to get that soil ready for that inspiration to be planted is to put yourself in environments that look aesthetically pleasing to you. So environments that feel beautiful, that you just like the look of, right? And it's important for me to say as well that you like the look of it, because what I might like the look of may not vibe with you. It's got to be what really sort of like gives you that trigger of, oh, this is so nice. I like being here. Put yourself in environments like that. So, for example, if an out of vision person is, working from home, make sure that your desk and your area that you work from is inspiring, that it feels beautiful, it's pretty, it's, whatever. It looks good. And you will feel more inspired. You're not going to kind of block your power in that sense. And so, when you are looking for that inspiration, maybe it's just a good idea for you to go somewhere really beautiful, go somewhere new, like really like find a feast for your eyes, essentially. Um, and so that's something really practically that you can do in order to sort of get yourself ready to be open to that inspiration. You're going to be inspired essentially in places that feel aesthetically pleasing to you. Now, on the other hand, we can look at your environment. So when we put ourselves in physical environments that align with us, we are literally going to, we're putting ourselves in the right place at the right time, And so there are tweaks. I know our environments in human design are mountains, valleys, markets, caves, shores, and kitchens. So there are 6 different environments. And I understand we can't always be on the top of a mountain. We cannot always be next to the shore, but there are simple ways that we can bring that same energy, because it's not just about what they physically look like, it's the symbolism of what these environments bring as well that matters. And so, for example, for you, your environment is mountains. Now, mountains are places that have, I mean, think about them physically. So physically, you're probably going to really enjoy going to mountains. You're probably going to love flying on a plane. It's like when you're high up, going into high-rise buildings where there are viewpoints where you can see below. You have like a higher up perspective. Now, so that's like the physical part of it. So maybe taking yourself to places like that, it's going to just like it almost, like, I know for me, and I know others that have worked with me and really really honored their own environment, put themselves in that environment. It's like when I need to just like reset and recalibrate and come back to myself, I'm shore's environment. I literally go to the shore because it just makes me, it's like I can breathe again. It does something to my soul. And so if you are feeling stuck and uninspired, because that is, if we're, that's the opposite of inspired. It's feeling stuck, uninspired, like nothing's happening, there's no creativity, there's no flow, right? If we are in that space, take yourself to your most optimal environment, because it is a place that holds so much physical support for you, for your soul, for your vessel. And on the other hand, let's look at the symbolism of this environment. It is a place that offers perspective. So for you, when you are putting yourself in places where you're going to learn something, where it's like places that have that higher perspective in mind, so I'm thinking like, going to a networking event or an event that talks about something that you're really interested in, you're going to come away from that like electric with inspiration, So let yourself explore how that shows up. So, and you think about mountains as well. It's often this place that it's like we can see as far as the eye can see, So there is this clarity aspect that comes with mountains environment. So if you are in environments that are incredibly cluttered and there's just like stuff everywhere, of course you're gonna feel stuck. You need to like create that space. And I kind of love this connection, and this is how it always works. Someone asks a question, I can see where it's showing up, as I'm saying about you being a generator and sticking so many things or bringing like cluttering your life up with things to do. It's the same, like physically, it's showing up physically in your mountains environment. So if you have environments where there's a lot of clutter, there's a lot of stuff, take this as a sign to have a spring clean and to just like clear the air, clear your pathway, make it again, like let's bring in that outer vision, make it look good, And so this is really, really important. I feel like, for us in with your question, it's like, how are you energetically cluttering your life by doing too many things and not leaving any of that wiggle room or any of that space for inspiration to land? And how we can look at that from your optimal environment, your mountains. How are you not leaving any of that space for clarity and cluttering your physical space as well? These two things are something you can look at and see how much they're going to alleviate any of that stuck energy and bring in that fresh perspective and that inspiration that you're looking for. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Human Design Hotline and that you learned a little bit more about this deeper aspect of your human design. I would love for you to share what is your own environment and your prominent sense. Share away in the comments, and if you would like more perspective and more information on how to use and implement yours into your life, I have the perfect guides for you. That also includes not only your most optimal environment, but your digestion type and your most prominent sense too. And they are really amazing. So the links are below. And again, I look forward to our next episode. Thank you for joining me today. And I am wishing you a beautiful day, night, morning, wherever you're picking this up from. And see you next time.